Good morning, everybody. ASIC Eric here, back on the Camaro again. Thanks everybody for your feedback on this little dilly right here. Couple of points here. Mark Fatster Cat had asked the question about weather stripping. Let me see, this door does have the weather stripping on, not all of it, but at least in this area. And what I was saying with this is I've tried moving this striker back and forth here, and I have this kind of interesting problem. If I push it out this way, then the door kind of double latches. It's like it'll lock sort of like that, and then you can push it and it'll latch again in a different place. And if so then I end up with it sticking out, you know, too far because it double latched. And then if I move the striker in, then I only get that first latch and it's sticking out too far. So I don't know what that double latch thing is and how to address that, but it does have weather stripping on it. You can see, let's see here. So in that position there, let's see, get a flashlight, hang on. So in that position right there, the weather stripping is right up against the door. If I give it that little extra heave-ho, well, that is the extra heave-ho. So the weather stripping is making contact right there. Is that good enough? I don't know. This is about the position where the door is supposed to be, though, I think, is right there. I think that's what I decided is about the right spot. As far as I can push that door in. It might be a hair too far in. I can pull it out a little bit, but yeah, maybe you guys can tell me what I'm doing wrong with the striker there. Anywho, so something like this. I just basically, that's what I did before, is I kind of just hand adjust it to where I want it, and then I was thinking someday down the road I could figure out what that issue was and how to deal with it, but back to this guy. So what am I thinking here? Anthony had the idea of, if I read that correctly, Anthony, let me know. I think his idea was to cut this on either edge of this thing, and then I could relieve the pressure on that edge there and then seat it back down in there. And my thought on that was, I have to raise this back edge of the line here too. So if I cut it, you know, am I going to be able to twist that whole panel up and then try and get that to line up where I want back here? It's kind of an open question. Some of you guys said, you know, don't worry about it, just cut it, and then you're gonna have to metal work it and work the crap out of it anyway. But here's what I'm thinking. If I can preserve this line or something like it, cut it here. I was thinking of, excuse me, putting a piece of welding rod right through here, which will give me, you know, some three-dimensionality to be able to grind that edge down and figure out where that's going to go. And also, I have the other quarter panel that I bought for this car that haven't used anything for. So, and I have to redo this front part here anyway, which I don't have off of this quarter panel. I mean, I have that little piece I took off, but here's what I'm thinking. Try and figure out where vertically here I would want to go to get all of this piece covered, because I think I want to go a little wider than this, because this is still a little chewy in here. Figure out that line, and that basically gives me the boundary for the Anthony cut, we'll call it. But what I'm going to try first is I'm going to go ahead and split this along this line-ish, like I was talking about, kind of figure out where the line should go and cut it there, and then see if I can get it to lay in a happy spot by itself, and then I'll forego doing that other cut. But even if I screw it up and I'm not happy with this, then I'll just cut this piece out basically and take the piece off of the other quarter panel. So that's what I'm thinking. So first order of business, actually, sorry, one more thing. Russ had a really good idea, which was take a profile of this, of the other side, actually, the good side. I don't have a profile gauge, but I do have some thick, heavy paper. I'll go ahead and make a template of the other side, and then I can use that. And I can take a template in a couple of places here if I need to be reconstructing this edge, but at least this piece right here, and try and figure out what that profile is supposed to be. I'm pretty sure it's wrong. You can see because the screw is pulling the metal in too much here and here, so it's, you know, the thing's pinching here. Anyway, long story short there, so or should I say short story long. That's it. So I'm gonna go ahead and take that profile first, and we'll start from there. Okay, I think I have that approximately correct here. This edge lines up pretty nicely here, and there you can see the gap we're left with there. Lines up pretty well with where I have the door. Maybe the door is a hair further out than that. And you can see maybe better from this side. If this is tucked up against there everywhere. I zoomed in a little too close there, sorry. That line's pretty good. And here you can see how far that is off. And then it's pretty tight all the way back down. So from about a little below that weld right there, maybe about where that weld is, and then we're off there up to about that spot right there. So just above this screw, that's screw to screw there basically, is where it's wrong. So you can see this is sticking out too far. So the profile that I cut out matches the door pretty well, where I have it. So I think that's good. That sort of confirms my diagnosis. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and make this split here. So I'm going to tape, as Roger suggested, tape this across that line there and try and get that line straight, figure out where I want it, and then go from there. And then I'll make the cut. Alright, so my first problem was trying to figure out where that line actually is. It's all kind of blurry, and there's this piece of trim that was there that isn't exactly parallel to the line, so I was using that at first, and I realized that's not really true. So I took the sanding block just to the edge here to try and give me a more clear line of where that edge actually is. I think I've got it now. So now I'll try running a piece of tape on there. Alright, that gives you a good idea of how far off that is. So the body line's actually a little high right here, and you can see it dives down into the tape there. So this is a little bit below the body line here, just a smidge. So I'm going to go ahead and cut it just above the tape there, and then we'll see what we end up with. Alright, so you can see the top of the panel just on its own popped in too far, but about right. So pull that out just a little bit. The bottom panel still sticking out just a little too much. It's wants to be about right there. The gap that the cutting wheel left is just about perfect. Actually, if you pull these two together, push it to right there, that's actually about where it wants to be. So that's actually pretty good where it is. I may open this up a little bit here to give me a little more room. And then, you know, the back is fine there. The body line is still in the wrong place here. Sorry, can't see that. So the crease is actually right along here. So trying to figure out what to do there. So this piece of metal needs to come out a little bit. I need to flatten off that edge there. I may just leave that where it is, and then pull this out here and then just build that up, that little drop off right there, put some metal in there to give myself the edge that I need. All right, so after studying this a little bit, I think what I'm going to do is leave this top edge where it is, and the bottom here, sorry, you can see that's the body line right there that I need to move up. I think I'll just take this metal and just push it in here. Doesn't need a lot. It's okay in the back here, so just kind of nudge it in like that, and it'll give me a little bit of an undercut right there that I can fill in with metal. And that gives me the metal that I'll be sanding on, which is good, so I need extra metal there anyway. And then this front edge I think is fine the way it is. Just kind of pull it out where it needs to be. So probably tap this in a little bit. It's pretty high right here. Get this where it wants to go. And then I still have to reconstruct all of this, but I think that's okay. So I think that's the plan. So I'm gonna grind the paint off of here and start seeing if I can put this weld where it wants to go here. That tape for later if I can. Okie doke. Alright, so we have that tacked in there. I think that's pretty good. We line the tape back up here. That edge is pretty good. It's a little low here, but low is better than high. I took the hammer and tapped this in down here to try and get that low. So there's a edge coming up this way here, you know, going to nothing out here. So I think that's good. I'm going to go ahead and tack all of that in. It's classic on this piece right here. When I tacked that in, I wanted to see if it was tight, so I had my welding gloves on and stuck my hand in there. And of course, one hole in my welding glove right there. Ow. Nice burn on my finger there. Alright, so I have a new set of welding gloves. I just hadn't taken them out yet. I forgot there was a hole in there. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and stitch this guy up here and see how it looks. Alright, well, I think that came out pretty nice. I did a little bit of grinding with the Rolock disc, and then I went through with a sanding block with 80 grit to try and get that line as flush as I can. Here, you can see it's pretty good. It's not exactly right, so it's a little bit low on the peak. I was going to have to build that up with a little bit of fiberglass filler, but alright, it's awfully close. And the line is pretty straight now, you can see. It's good, so I'm pretty happy with that. So I'm going to go on to fabricating this piece right here now. Alright, here's what we're up to here. So I've got this piece in here. Follows the body line pretty well. It could stand a little more curve right there, but I think it's alright. So I'm going to grind back the epoxy here and hit this here. I left this long here so I could fix that to the door to get the gap I want there. So I got this thing in. It ended up a little too low right here, so I put a bunch of metal on top of that with the welder to try and flatten this out. To give myself a nice edge, because there's a little step down right there. It's fine on the bottom here, but this top piece had a little step down, so grind that down, see how it looks. Alright, that's pretty good. I think I'm going to leave it there. I'll show you the line here. Remember, this door's got a bow in it right here, so that complicates matters, but it's pretty straight. It might be a little high right there. It's hard to tell, like I said, since that door is not straight either. It's pretty good, I would say. Sorry, hard to keep. Look at what I'm doing in film at the same time, so I think that's pretty good. Gap's pretty decent here. I'm not going to finish this up until I finalize the gaps in here. I may have to move this door forward a smidge, so it's a little tight in through here and in through here, so we'll see. Maybe I'll leave it where it is and just adjust those parts. But just to show you, so I mean the line's pretty good. I think it's about as good as I can do in metal. Run you down the line here. See that? Pretty straight. So we're gonna call that there, and then go ahead and finish welding all the rest of this stuff. And this panel is done. All right, she's done, at least as far as welding is concerned. I think everything looks pretty good. Door gap looks not too bad. It's probably gonna require a little bit of finesse down the road. A little wide down there, a little wide up there, so I'll probably add a little bit of metal to the quarter panel side to just bring that out a little bit. You can see this gap now, or this alignment here is good. Take one more look down the car. Show you what we got. It's pretty nice. It's a little bit wavy down there, but I don't really think I can do any better in the metal. So we've got this little bow in the door here, and there's a little bow here, so this is a high spot right here, which is good. So I can build it up out from those edges there. Hopefully I can get the door to pull out. Maybe I can even get this to come out a little bit when the time comes. We'll see. Hang on. Sorry about that. The compressor was just dumping its last little bit of air there. So this is all done down through here. I'm going to touch up maybe. Yeah, maybe a little more touch up right there. This bottom edge looks like hell, but it's going to be fiberglass anyway, so it doesn't really matter. I went around and cleaned this stuff up sort of as best I can. It's not easy. Came around this back corner here. Finished this up. There's a little hole there I plugged in. Filled all of this stuff. So she's ready for fiberglass. I ordered another can. I hope I have enough here to do what I need to do. I may run out. I'm gonna try. Funny story. We were watching Fast and Loud the other day, and they were working on that Corvette, that Hot Wheels Corvette. And they were doing the fiberglassing, and my wife's like, "Ooh, that looks like fun. Maybe I'd like to do that." And I was like, "Really?" So I told her I'm going to be doing exactly the same thing. They were fiberglassing a quarter panel. So I say, "Hey, you know, that's the next step here is to do the fiberglassing." She said she wants to try it, so we'll see. So I may let her do the fiberglass spread here, and we'll see if she's interested in keeping doing that. We were talking about it, and they were working on a little piece here, and I said, yeah, the entire car here is all gonna get filler on it and sanded down and filler, and so like the whole thing. She's like, wow, that's a lot of work. I said, yep, but we'll see. See if we can get her out here helping me too. That'd be sweet. Anyway, that's gonna do it for today. Next step, fiberglass, and after that, I'm probably going to let it sit like that for a little while and probably do some of this body work in here, patch this hole right here, etc. Because before I prime all of this in epoxy, rather than priming and then coming back and doing it again. So I'll try and pull all these big dents out right away if I can before I epoxy this whole thing, and then I'll do the body filler over the epoxy here for all this stuff. Put the fiberglass on the bare metal, but the normal filler will do over the epoxy. All right, anyway, that's it. Thanks everybody. Have a good one.